On March 4, 2026, a grand jury in Ellis County, Texas issued indictments against Madison Paige Jones and Zackery Dondlinger, 39 felony counts between them. Jones, a 30-year-old substitute teacher, faces 19 counts including 13 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. Dondlinger, her 37-year-old boyfriend, faces 20 counts including the same 13 counts of aggravated sexual assault. The victim was a 5-year-old girl who lived in Jones' home. The alleged abuse occurred over 12 days, from December 5 through December 17, 2025. According to court documents, Jones confessed to police that she sexually assaulted the child at Dondlinger's direction and sent videos of the abuse to him via Snapchat. After the indictments, Jones' bond was increased from $90,000 to $3.8 million. Dondlinger's bond was increased from $200,000 to $5 million. Both are being held at the Wayne McCullum Detention Center in Ellis County, awaiting trial. Welcome to Beyond Guilty. On this channel, we go beyond the guilty verdict of the judicial system and lay bare human nature. Madison Paige Jones was 30 years old and worked as a substitute teacher for the Midlothian Independent School District in Texas. Records show she had worked only 4 days in the past year. 1 day at Heritage High School on November 19th, and 3 days at Baxter Elementary in late October and early November. Zackery Dondlinger was 37 years old and worked on oil rigs in western Texas. He was from the small town of Happy in the Texas Panhandle, about an hour north of Amarillo. Jones and Dondlinger were in a romantic relationship. A 5-year-old child lived in Jones' home. Court documents do not specify the child's relationship to Jones. These cases take days to research and investigate. Like this video and subscribe to help us continue. On Wednesday, December 17, 2025, patrol officers with the Midlothian Police Department received a call from a woman who identified herself as a friend of Madison Jones. The woman told officers she had concerns about Zackery Dondlinger's behavior toward a 5-year-old child in Jones' home. Midlothian is a suburb of Dallas. The police department began investigating immediately. Officers contacted Jones and questioned her about the report. According to court documents, Jones confessed to sexually assaulting the 5-year-old child. She told officers that Dondlinger had sexual fantasies about the child and had directed her to perform sexual acts on the child. Jones stated that she sent videos of these acts to Dondlinger via Snapchat to satisfy his sexual needs, according to affidavits obtained by News Channel 10. Officers seized Jones' iPhone and iPad as evidence. They obtained a search warrant and examined the devices. According to court documents, investigators found text messages between Jones and Dondlinger that confirmed Jones' statements. Messages showing that Dondlinger had directed her to abuse the child. On December 19, 2025, 2 days after the initial report, Madison Paige Jones was arrested and charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child, possession of more than 500 visual depictions of child pornography, and 2 counts of indecency with a child by sexual contact. Her bond was set at $90,000. Stories like this reach more people when you share them. Help us honor these victims by sharing this video with someone who follows true crime. Detectives with the Criminal Investigation Division continued their investigation and identified Zackery Dondlinger as a second suspect. On December 23, 2025, 2 days before Christmas, detectives located Dondlinger at an oil rig site in Loving County, Texas, about an hour west of Odessa. Dondlinger was arrested and charged with sexual performance by a child. Officers seized 2 iPhones belonging to Dondlinger as evidence. He was initially held at the Winkler County Detention Center on a bond of $200,000 while awaiting extradition to Ellis County. A relative of Jones later gave law enforcement an iPad that had been in Jones' possession. The relative told police they no longer wanted it in their home after learning about the criminal investigation. Multiple agencies assisted in locating and apprehending Dondlinger, including the Ellis County Children's Advocacy Center, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Loving County Sheriff's Office. The Midlothian Independent School District moved quickly to distance itself from Jones after learning of the allegations. In a statement to families, the district confirmed that Jones had worked as a substitute teacher but emphasized that she had worked only 4 days in the past year. The district provided the exact dates, November 19th at Heritage High School and October 28th, 29th, and November 3rd at Baxter Elementary. Midlothian Assistant Chief of Police Scott Brown told reporters, "She was employed in our local school district, and this has no connection with her job as a teacher. There is no nexus between her work and education in this case." Investigators confirmed that the alleged offenses did not take place at district schools and did not involve any students from the district. The district announced that Jones was no longer employed by them. On March 4, 2026, an Ellis County grand jury reviewed the evidence and voted that there was enough to formally charge both Madison Paige Jones and Zackery Dondlinger. The indictments revealed the scope of the alleged abuse. Madison Page Jones was indicted on 19 counts. 13 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child, first-degree felonies. 4 counts of indecency with a child by exposure, third-degree felonies. 1 count of indecency with a child by sexual contact, a second-degree felony. 1 count of possession with intent to promote child pornography, a first-degree felony. Zackery Dondlinger was indicted on 20 counts. 13 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child, first-degree felonies. 3 counts of indecency with a child by exposure, third-degree felonies. 2 counts of indecency with a child by sexual contact, second-degree felonies. 1 count of sexual performance by a child, a first-degree felony. 1 count of possession with intent to promote child pornography, a first-degree felony. The indictments show that the alleged offenses occurred almost daily from December 5th through December 17th, 2025. 12 consecutive days. All charges involve a single victim, the 5-year-old child who lived in Jones' home. Following the indictments, both suspects' bonds were dramatically increased. Jones' bond went from $90,000 to $3,840,000. Dondlinger's bond went from $200,000 to $5 million. Both remain in custody at the Wayne McCullum Detention Center in Ellis County, awaiting trial. On March 4, 2026, a grand jury found enough evidence to indict both Madison Jones and Zackery Dondlinger on 39 felony counts. The alleged abuse lasted 12 days. The victim was 5 years old. If convicted, both face multiple life sentences. They are presumed innocent until proven guilty. This is Beyond Guilty. Please subscribe.